Hello, friends. We have another replay analysis here. Shadow Shaman, position 4. Herald, 4. Let's see. You got tangos, you got boots. Okay. Normal enough. You don't always have to start boots with this hero, but it's something you can do. I feel like this kind of ward is less common, actually, in general, like in pubs. Like, this is a ward you will use in, like, pro-level games. I don't know if your like mid lane teammate will make use of that ward, but I'm all for it. What is happening here? All right. That guy was not prepared. We take those. Let's see, and you're gonna body block. Okay. Oh, we've got an off lane alchemist, safe lane specter, sniper mid. All right. Well, this is Herald, so I in no offense, like I don't mean offense, you know? But yeah, drafts will be a little weird. I don't know if this guy's actually going like legit off lane alch, or I mean, you know, we've got a tiny jug lane here. So I think what you're doing right now is pretty good. Yeah, get him. Ah! Okay, that almost got messed up. Get him too. Hell yeah, do it. No. All right, I think that could have been a kill. I think there was some mess ups on the attacks. Full respect. If you kill him right there, just let the tower kill you right after. I don't know how experienced you are, how much you've played Dota, but that may seem counterintuitive to many of you. But in this case, literally everyone in the lane would be dead, and so no one gets experience for Shadow Shaman dying. And he has like nothing, right? He's under the tower. He's gonna lose all his health. So he would just die, go home, respawn, and you could TP out, you could walk out. You've got boots, you're pretty fast. Kind of depend how the lane's going. All right, but since you didn't die, you kind of have to tango up because right now you're sitting low. Okay, there we go. You did waste some time there though, so you should already be like probably close to full health at this point. I think this, like right around now, your second tango should be ending. All right, you want to start hitting this creep as soon as it drops below 50%. And that way, it'll start dying off sooner. There we go. Okay, yeah, just do that a little sooner. You would have gotten that last hit. Ooh, I think you're dead. The area is a lot bigger than it looks. Once you got a little close. And if you'd done the tango sooner, then you probably have enough health to live. So that's where, like, those small mistakes, they seem small, like, oh, I forgot to tango for a little bit. But sometimes they do matter, and this is an exact situation where it did matter. You probably survive that jug spin with a bit more health, and then you get under your tower, you salve up, you're good to go. You could probably just kill this guy, though. I think you probably should have just walked up and shackled him. Okay, there you go. And then just Q. Okay, stone cold killer, dude. You knew you'd get him. I was a little scared, though, and I think to secure the kill, don't be afraid to just throw out the spell. 120 mana for a jug kill, absolutely worth it. Is that blocking? Okay. Blocking the camp after it spawns, if you forget, is fine. And in this case, sick kill, nice. In this case, it's a little late in the laning stage. You can still do it. I think it's okay, but a little less so. And in fact, your hard camp is actually blocked. I don't know if you've realized that yet, though. And so that sentry, I think, would have been better for that. Because I don't even know if this Tiny will pull again, if ever. Oh, actually, he's doing it. Damn, how'd he know? Oh, he had a ward here, maybe. Okay, so you want to be suspicious because he unblocked. I don't know if you noticed this, but if you didn't, or if you did and you didn't make the connection, let me point that out. He unblocked your camp when you still had something in here, right? You put your sentry down when there was a camp here, which means he really shouldn't know that it was blocked. So, like, if we go back, this is your sentry. There's no reason for him to know you blocked this unless he was paying attention to your inventory and knew you placed a sentry down somewhere, but there's no real reason for him to... Okay, I don't think there was a real reason for him to check here, because this ward is actually placed after the fact. But either way, I think you should have been... I don't know, now I look silly. But I think you should still err on the side. It should be like, why did Tiny just check here? There's a good chance he either was keeping an eye on your inventory, or he saw you. He saw you place that sentry. And that would suggest there's a ward here, which means when you then place this observer, there's a chance he sees you do this one as well, which means now this is going to get dewarded. In this case, I'm actually not sure. It might have just been a blind check, or he might have been paying attention to your inventory. I'm not sure. But placing that observer now, there's a good chance he's going to get it. Okay. Pulling the creeps over. You're going straight for arcanes. You're kind of rich off those kills. Usually rushing arcanes this quickly is not the best. Usually getting some smaller items is pretty good. For example, a Windlace in this lane where you just need to keep your distance from these melee heroes could be really good. But since you got all those kills, I'm okay with kind of rushing it a bit. Although I think you actually had more gold than necessary, and you kind of bought some other stuff along the way too. But run. So that's a case where I know Jug's faster than you, and he will probably kill you. So then I wouldn't use the salve there. But it's hard to know that stuff, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Now, something you do want to consider, when you have this many cores on your team, you do want to try to stack. And you started with the boots. If you wanted to, you could have bought a Windlace, and I think that would have been good. Instead of finishing this magic wand, you could just leave it at a magic stick and 2 iron branches. A Windlace, so you're faster, so you can go stack these camps a little bit more. Because your Alchemist will love that, your Sniper will love that, your Spectre will love that. You have a greedy team, which means you have to introduce more gold onto the map somehow, and that is usually through stacking. So I think that could be worth your time. Also, just buying a couple sentries, because this guy has just been removing stuff, right? He dewarded your ward, he dewarded this camp. There's just a bunch of sentries and possibly wards here. So I would just buy a couple sentries, and I would place one you have a flying courier at this point, so I'd put your flying courier here to check high ground. I'd probably put a sentry in this area that spots the high ground in this general area. Maybe another sentry over here to spot. Take your bet, because you don't have to spend too much, but I'd be willing to spend 2 sentries to check the cliff and this area, and then either check up here, or over here. I know we're not covering every single spot, so it's well, what if we miss it? But that should honestly inform you a bit without having to buy 4 sentries. You buy 2 sentries. You place one, you get a sentry. You place the other one, you don't get anything. Okay, so then maybe those other areas I didn't check have something. Or you get a sentry and a ward, you place another sentry, you get another sentry. They probably don't have anything else, right? Why would they have more than 1 ward up here? It'd be a little weird. Oh my goodness, incredible. You can double tap. Actually, I don't know. It depends on what settings you choose, but under options, actually it's under hotkey options. Double tap ability to self-cast, or smart double tap, which means you press hold alt and then whatever ability. That is the fastest way to TP right back to fountain. So you TP'd outside the fountain, so I'm pretty confident you manually click down here. So if you're ever worried about that, if you want to TP home as fast as possible, try doing that. Double tap your teleport or alt tap it, whatever your setting is. That'll TP you straight to the fountain. And that way you don't have to spend any time moving your mouse, stuff like that. This is a good time to stack. Tempting both. Let's go. Alright. I would try to use Ether Shock first, because Ether Shock is an instant spell, and then you shackle them, and while you're shackling, Ether Shock is going on cooldown. And that means if you don't kill them in that time, you then chase them a little bit, then you'll maybe get to use Ether Shock again. He dewarded your sentry here before, so I think you're here to like try to get it this time, but try to keep an eye on where he is, because if Juggernaut is here, you're in great risk for being here, but he also just attacks faster than you, and let's say his sentry's hidden back here. You're going to have to like run around and find his sentry wherever it is, whereas he is going to like instantly see yours because it's out in the open. So when you come to deward, make sure like, do I have the time to deward? Like, I probably need like 10 seconds to check this whole area and run in a circle because it's nighttime. And then I have to hit the ward. So do I have that time, or is a Juggernaut going to run through here and do this? So this is like, the first time I understand. The second time, you got to be a little careful on it. You got to make sure, like, can I actually check? Like, if you put a sentry here, and you're like, oh, he might have a sentry over here. Is it actually safe for you to walk around and find his sentry? If it's not, then you can't really put a sentry here, because otherwise they're just going to remove it again. And that's kind of what's happened to you. You've bought a couple sentries, and they've dewarded it a couple times. I would try to run straight to the tower. The tower has a health regen. And extra armor for you. I'm noticing you start with shackles each time so far. Try to go Ether Shock first and then use the shackles. Ooh, trying to stack. I think that timing will work because this camp's really lenient. Okay, nice. I actually like that a lot. It might have been worth it to double stack, especially because you were getting tranquils, but I'm kind of okay with you doing what you did too. This isn't going to be a big deal because you have a lot of health, or have a lot of mana, but you TP'd from out here, and the fountain was right here. If you have the time, you should just walk in the fountain and then TP out, because then the fountain will heal up the rest of the mana that you're missing. Okay, you're 6, which means our goal should be to look for a chance to use it. I am scared for you chasing after the DP with the ult. I know you're trying to help your alchemist, but like, man, that positioning's really scary. Okay, he's kind of like running into your wards. Okay, I guess that's okay. Because it was a 3-on-3, I'm gonna say I don't mind that shackles, or sorry, that ult. In general, I prefer to use the ultimate for towers rather than like pickoffs, but as the team fight gets bigger and bigger, it becomes more worth it to do. And in this case, you had the enemy mid and safe lane, and you had like 3 your heroes, 3 their heroes, so I think in that case it was okay. But it was very likely that Jug just walked away there, and then you don't get anything out of it. So I think, like, you gotta be a little careful. Also, I think this second point in Shackles should be Hex, because I know it's more mana intensive, but you're doing pretty well with your items, like your gold, so you have extra mana here anyways. And the instant Hex helps you to get off the first disable so that someone like Juggernaut doesn't get to spin. Someone like Sand King doesn't get to use Burrow Strike away. You disable them, and then you shackle afterwards. It's more mana intensive, but it's a little more reliable. Alright, we're going to push this. You're going to ult it. Okay, you know what? I'm going to be okay with it. I was going to say, you probably don't have to ult this one because it's a little low. It's like already a 3rd health, and we saw Jug walk away, so it means they're probably not going to defend it. You had 3 heroes up there, so you probably just take that tower. But you know what? I'm going to be okay with erring on the side of safety. Stack if you can. Oh, actually, all those camps are farmed. Never mind. So I'm going to be okay with it, and you now have a minute to kind of do whatever you want. And when that minute is up, I want you to be at this bottom tower ready to ult it. That would be the most, like, optimal usage of your time. So, like, you could farm for 30 seconds and then have your team pushing in, and then in those last 10 seconds, you, like, run up to the tower and you ult. So, like, we're getting there. If you kill this DP, you can then turn it into a tower with your ult. You have this creep following you. You got to get rid of him. This has come up in some stuff I've talked about recently, where if the creeps aggro to you, you kind of just have to kill them or get them off of you as fast as possible. Okay, so I like this ultimate way better, because if they walk away from here, then the ult didn't do anything in the team fight. But there's a tower here, so you then get the tower. This is now like dual purpose. You use it for the team fight and the tower. I'm a big fan of this ultimate right here. And you didn't wait too long after it came off cooldown. Intentional or not, I don't know. But in the end, this usage was very good. Okay, cool. You're buying dust too. Happy with that. Speed up a little bit. I think this is a good disable. Yeah, I noticed you just sitting on like Ether Shock a lot. It's a very fast spell. Try to at least if you have the mana, try to just use it before you use your other ones. It's just you'll get more like damage output on some of these kills. And sometimes that'll matter. Sometimes, like, if you don't kill a guy and you're disabled, he instantly BKBs and kills you guys or something, right? So it's, like, important to get the damage up front. So, like, Hex, Ether Shock, hit him, Shackle, something like that. But it uses all your spells. Okay, so right now, we were chilling, kind of doing whatever. Honestly, I don't mind whatever you were doing at the time. And now, it's, the ult is ready to use. I'm okay if you use it here. But try to trap someone with it. So actually, you see right here, you could trap this Death Prophet and maybe the Sand King, honestly. Or you could use him on the Undying and trap him in there as well. And then you don't even have to really, like, shackle them. I mean, you probably still should so they don't just kill your wards. But, you know, they're, like, physically trapped in your wards in case you do have to do other things. Like, you hex them. They're trapped in your wards, and then you shackle someone else. Now you're disabling 2 people, and the hexed guy can't even walk away because he's stuck in your wards, and he's hexed, so he can't attack. But that's a good way to use, like, your ult in team fights, is to use it on someone. There you go, that was pretty good. Hexed into the shackle. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. I think there was a bit of overlap there, but I'm not sure because we were kind of speeding up, so I'm not 100%. Let's see, you're getting the shard next. I'm okay with this. What's going on here? You're meeting your courier? Okay. Now you're waiting here. Yeah, honestly, I don't mind that. It wasn't too much for you to do at that time. Now your ult's coming off cooldown, so I do think you could start thinking about pushing a lane. So right now you've got Spectre Haunt ready. Death Ward is about to be up. He's got his ultimate. Your ultimate's about to be up. And Sniper, like, his ult's low cooldown, so it's like, whatever. Sniper! Come on, give this to me! Support! Come on! Anyways. So, I think 4 of you could go right now. Oh, maybe he just picked it up. I think 4 of you could go right now and let Spectre... So let's say, honestly, I don't care where you go. This is Herald, so let's not make a big deal out of, like, being in the most optimal location. Let's just try to get your teammates to, like, do one play, right? So 4 of you push top, let's say. And Spectre should farm bottom. That way you're being very map efficient, and then Spectre can haunt in top when the fight breaks out. And why is this fight top good? Well, you guys are already stronger, and you have all your ultimates ready. Now, arguably, you guys scale better because you have a bunch of greedy cores and you're already ahead, so you don't have to force anything. So you kind of can play a passive game here, and it wouldn't be too bad. That's a little boring if you're a support, though, to be honest. And it's much more fun to, like, do things. And I think you guys are strong enough to do things right now. Wand! Whoa. Stone cold, dude. You knew. You knew you didn't even need it. Great. Let's go. All right. Where are you going right now? Where are you going? Yeah, turn around. If you were about to walk the fountain, that's no good. I'm glad you didn't. Oh, that was excellent. I love that disable on the catapult. Very happy with that. I would buy a TP. I'd buy a Clarity right now. And then any extra dust, you know, things you need. Now, stack? Oh, you are on point. Oh, again, probably could be a double stack there. I'm just being nitpicky. I'm being nitpicky, but, like, if you're going to stack one of these camps and you're a ranged hero, you might as well get both. There's only a few cases where I think, like, for example, you have to be somewhere else and you don't want to walk this way. Like, in this case, you were walking to the rune, so I'm kind of okay with it. But at the same time, I think because your team's so greedy, I think the double stack and then going to the rune is also pretty acceptable. At this stage of the game, the rune is not like... You know, that's more important in, like, the first few minutes of laning where, like, oh, the mid laner got this rune, the mid lane's now over kind of deal. At 23 minutes, they might get a good rune for a big team fight and stuff like that, you know? But it's not going to ruin someone's laning stage. It's like, oh, they got a DD, we better just dodge them for a bit. Maybe they take a tower, which is not the best. Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna assume you meant to shackle there, right? And you just messed up the timing a little bit. It happens. But that's definitely the time to shackle right there. Now, thinking about your job, by the way, as we get into this late game, your Alk and your Spectre are now pretty much strong enough to kind of like be on their own, and it's the sniper you kind of have to protect. Now, you're the 4 support, so you have 2 choices. You can be the guy who chain stuns for your Spectre, for your Alchemist, and helps them get kills, or you can help protect your sniper when enemies jump on him, you disable them, and he then kills them. I would be okay with either. This is a weird draft, so it's hard to say which is better. It would probably just depend how a team fight breaks out, and I'd like go towards that. But I'm going to at least highlight both options so you can kind of decide what you want to do from there. But yeah, Sniper will do a bunch of damage. Actually, let's check the levels. So Sniper's your highest level. He's quite farmed. You know, as long as he doesn't die, he will probably win the fight on his own. Spectre, Alchemist, they can also probably do something very similar. So like I said, it is a little hard to decide which, but considering you're a bit of a fragile hero yourself and you don't really want to die either, I kind of like defending Sniper on the back line, because then you're also in a safer area rather than the front lines with like Alk and Spectre. Right here, by the way, there's a good chance he TP's out right here and there's nothing you can do. But just in case, just rapidly Hex here, just because like you saw at the very end, he finished spinning, but the teleport hadn't ended. So if you're just like spamming Hex right there, it's an instant disable. You will Hex him before he goes. And I know it's just like, I don't know if he might TP before the spin finishes. It's just a chance, you know? You can be attacking him and spamming the W key at the same time. And it's just like a hedging your bet kind of thing. So anytime someone's like BKB'd, Rage, Jug Spin, things like that, just go ahead and like spam the Hex because it's your instant disable. And if they did mess up the timing, you will get the disable and then the kill. Okay. So this is a case you don't really need to ult here. Your team is really strong right now. You guys just killed the Undying. Save your ultimate for an objective, whether it's a tier 2 or Roshan. I don't think you guys need it right here. You want to kill that healing ward, by the way. You want to attack it. You're a very short-ranged hero, so in general, this is not going to be your job. But maybe because you have a Blink Dagger, or if it happens to come near you, kind of like right here, this healing ward is really important to kill in team fights, and it gets you 75 gold, so it's very nice. But yeah, hitting that healing ward is worth more than hitting like any other hero, and arguably it's more important than getting off a certain spell, but it would really depend on like the given situation. In this case, all your stuff was on cooldown, and like Ether Shock, that healing ward is just going to heal them up. So killing the healing ward is far more important. Look, it's still alive, it's keeping everyone healthy. So in this fight, I kind of said like you don't need the ult. Let's actually look back at that again. Let's figure out why your team lost that fight. Oops, we went back a little too far. So like right here, I think this is fine. Let's see, then you shackled a little early. I think it's okay. Once DP ults, you could probably just look to back away. Again, try to trap her in the ultimate. It's just going to waste a bit of her time. I think you guys are just chasing too far. looking at it here. And sniper's not here yet. That's also part of the issue. You guys like went deep without the sniper. And then by the time he gets here, I don't know why he walked up like face first to her. He has the damage to kill everyone here, but because of how things have gone on, he's now going to die. And that's kind of why I highlighted, like, you have 2 jobs, potentially. You can either protect him or help set up for the others. But in this case, your team just went too far, I think. Uh-oh, what's going on there? Oh, the bounces. Let's go. Actually, it's not working out quite as well as I thought. I thought that was going to be super sick. She's tanky with that BKB. When an enemy pops back here, they might have warded here. You might want to keep that in mind. And check there later when it's safe to do so. I know it's hard to get people to do in Herald, but if you guys can try like any smoke plays, I think I've seen you guys try to smoke a couple times, but it just doesn't pan out. But yeah, the like group of you smoking with the blink initiation and then Spectre haunting in, that's a very clean team fight. For you, your target should be one of these 3 heroes probably. Actually, any of these 4 will be okay depending on context. Undying is arguably the least important hero for you to get. You want to get the Jug because he's hard to kill if he gets his spells off. The Tiny because he can disable your stuns. Or your stuns, your Shackle. Same reason with Sand King. Plus, because they have stuns, they can set up on your carries and get them killed. And then Death Prophet. If you can chain disable her before she gets her abilities off, then you're in a fantastic spot. It's when she gets her Exorcism off, all her spells, that's when the game gets tough. Okay. I think you slightly missed the Blink Hex there. But I'm not gonna... it's fine. It happens sometimes. I think you know, like, yeah, I'm supposed to Blink Hex him, right? So I don't feel like I need to... I'm not gonna make a big deal. This is a very aggressive ult. But it might work out. I don't know if your team was communicating or something. She haunted pretty quickly, so maybe you guys were. She can die now. Yeah, see? Sniper's got the damage. He just needs to be kept alive. You were home free. You just had to go out, not through the tower. I don't know. Okay, if your team was communicating that, then I'm okay with that ultimate. Because at this point, if your team wins, they can kind of take objectives without your ult. So if you use your ult to win the team fight, I'm okay with it a bit more now. I still like to use the ult for objectives, but in this case, it's like not such a big deal. I don't know if you need a gem this game, by the way. I think you just keep carrying sentries and dust and you're fine. This game, I might pick up a BKB. You have 3 cores, and they will literally do all the damage in the world and take all the objectives without you doing anything. You just need to let them hit people. And so the BKB kind of guarantees that I BKB and I get my abilities off. Nice dewarding, by the way. Good use of the gem. I'd probably be with your team. Even though the enemy is like all dead, I kind of still think it's pretty important to be with them. I guess your attacks don't do too much. Okay, you came back as the people respawn. Okay, you know what? I'm okay with what you did. I think it's fine. But yeah, the BKB, so you just like blink BKB and you just pick a target. You go on them and you can't be stopped except by toss. But if you want to disable the Tiny, that's fine. But if you see him use toss or you see him somewhere else in the fight, then you can blink BKB, disable one of these heroes for like, what is it? It's like 7 seconds? 8.5 seconds. Damn. And that's pretty good. You know, the support, position 4 support, admittedly. But like the support is taking out a core for 8 seconds. That's really good. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, I think you were distracted by something. That's okay. We're here now. What? I would start with the Hex. I'm actually not fully sure if this is true, but I'm pretty sure as Shackle ends and you go to Hex, there's a time window where they can use a spell. But if you Hex and then you Shackle after that, there's no space for them to BKB. I'm actually not 100% sure if that's true or not. But that's why usually hexing first is better, because let me paint it in another scenario. Let's say you start with a Shackle and then out of nowhere you get blink stunned by Sand King or whatever hero. Then you never get to use the Hex because the other person BKBs. But if you Hex first, if you then get blink stunned or whatever, you still get the full 3.5 seconds of the Hex before the enemy gets to do anything. And in that time, the stun may have ended and then you get to Shackle anyways. So in general, I think it's better to start with the Hex and then Shackle after, rather than Shackle and then Hex. But I'm sure that's not a 100% of the time kind of rule. I'm sure there are cases where, come on, someone pick up the gem. Guys, come on. Come on. Come on. What? Guys, the gem. Guys, the gem. Someone, ping this gem. You gotta ping it for them. This is 900 of your gold. It's just sitting there. But yeah, I'd probably go for BKB instead of this Force Staff. I think that's like what you need to do here. I think Glimmer is also pretty good. That's a classic support item, right? It looks like you guys are good to go here. I think you'll win here. So let's start recapping a bit. Some spell usage things on Shadow Shaman. So like, throw out the Ether Shock just a bit more, especially if you have enough mana. In the laning stage too, I didn't see it used as much. Like, I kind of feel like the laning plan for Shadow Shaman is to hit someone, Ether Shock, hit them. That's like 200 damage. You just do that a couple times, and you kind of win trades that way. But I don't think I saw that order too much. And then, like, later as fights go on, you try to, like, Hex, Ether Shock, Shackle, or if you're not sure how the fight's going to go, just throw out the Ether Shock first so it can start going on cooldown. And if a fight does break out, then after you've used your stuns, you have another Ether Shock. I would get a point in Hex after. I would go, like, 1 point in Ether Shock, probably Shackle. You can honestly go 1-1-1 some games, but if you go for the second point in Ether Shock and then the fourth level you take Hex, I think that's fine too. But usually a value point in both stuns is pretty good. It's more mana intensive, but it gives you more options, and you can even disable like 2 different heroes or disable 1 hero for a really long time. So I think that option's really good. And it gives you the chance to like have an instant disable and then a longer disable with a Shackle. Speaking of which, try to open with Hex in general. Like, as the mid to late game goes, I think that's the safer bet. Kind of guarantee full value out of the Hex. And then if you aren't killed in that time, you then get to Shackle afterwards. You had a couple like pretty good usages of the ult where it was barely off cooldown and then you used it again. Try to keep that up. That's a really good habit to have. I don't know if you were doing it intentionally or not, but if you base your movements around your ultimate, like, I just use my ult, I have 2 minutes, I'll go stack, I'll farm a little bit, I'll push out this wave. Okay, it's about to be off cooldown, let me go join the team. You did that a couple times. Again, I'm not sure if intentional or not. If it was, fantastic. If not, I want you to realize that was actually really good and try to do that, like, keep doing that, because it's a really good thing to do when you have like long cooldown ults like Shadow Shamans. If you're using it for a kill, try to drop it on a hero to trap them. Things like that. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Let's check the graph real quick. So actually, it's kind of weird. Alchemist, because of the way he works, is supposed to be ahead. So I'd say this lane is actually quite even, if not Jug doing a little better than I expected. Especially considering he had a tiny support. I think you could have harassed a little bit more in this lane. I think you got caught up in doing this like D-ward pull contesting battle, but I think you should have probably just pulled your own hard camp, like unblocked your hard camp and done your own hard camp pulls instead of like continuously walking out to their small camp in the dark. And I think he died a couple times for that. And then I think your lane would have gotten a little smoother. It's a little weird. Tiny's not a very common 5, so I don't blame you if you're like not sure how to play this lane. Like you have an alchemist off lane, Tiny 5. It's like very weird. But yeah, I think you probably could have like fought in the lane a little bit more with your ether shock, with your right clicks, and then like do your own pulls, and that keeps you in a safer location instead of like going way into their territory against a Tiny and a Juggernaut. Okay, that is it. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. Leave any comments with the questions, all of that. Goodbye.